All right, Facebook and I guess YouTube, Giant XL American Bully Group. We are live. Go ahead and join in while I get a couple little things going. Give me just a second. Let's see here. And let's see here. Looks like tonight we're going to be discussing. First off, I got a special guest that's going to join in. So I can't wait for him to jump on because we're going to be discussing heat lamps, progesterone testing. What's that number you're looking for when it comes to the progesterone test to know that your female is ready? I got a guy that's going to be coming in hopefully soon, and he's going to be letting you know what it is he looks for in it. We are also going to be discussing the American Pit Bull Terrier, American Staffordshire Terriers, and how we got to the American Bullies with the blue, the tan points. Now we got the merle, the double XLs. We're going to get into all that. And we are also, let me know if you guys cannot hear me or there's any type of issues. Bernard, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. Betsy, what's up? Thanks for joining in. Dion, thanks for joining. Robert, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining in. And Braxton, what's up, bro? Thanks for joining in, dude. You not gaming tonight, Braxton? I've been peeping some of your videos. But so we're going to go ahead and get into this. As far as the views, this is kind of all over the place. So you got people on YouTube. You got people that are in the group, Giant XL American Bully Group. You got people that are on a couple other pages. So this is kind of coming in from all over the place. But it looks like we got a good number of people watching. So we are also going to be talking about last week. We did the temperament series and we brought up various different drives that you should be aware of when it comes to your dogs. Last week, we kind of summed it up on how to bring it together when it comes to the American Bully as a breed and according to its breed standard. I got a lot of questions from that. So I think what we're going to do is continue, not necessarily go through the individual drives, but continue discussing temperament, how to breed for it, what to look for. So tonight we're going to be talking about testing temperament. I was just telling my wife, it's hard for me it's like when I have a litter, all these things flush into my head and it's easy for me to think of them and go through them as that litter is progressing. So it's the litter that reminds me of the things that I've always done. When there's no litter, it becomes more difficult because now I'm trying to remember different things that I do so that I can tell them to you guys. And hopefully that pans out and we get as much in there as possible. Give me just a second to throw this to the top of the group. And why is it not giving me that option? Hold on just a moment. Copy link, edit post, audience, edit live. Why is it not giving me that option? Facebook never works the same when I go live. Oh well, we'll just do what we're doing. But so definitely be aware of what we're discussing tonight. Again, that is, hold on. That is temperament. And we can go ahead and get started with that. That way, once my guest joins on, and I'll try to be aware of him requesting to join on. I sent him a link to join in. But then we'll switch to that when he jumps in. When it comes to temperament testing, I think, and then breeding for temperament, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is, and when it comes to breeding in general, is they don't breed for litters. A lot of people tend to breed for individual dogs. Hey, Joseph, thanks for joining in, man. What's up, Larry? Thanks for joining in. Northern Edge, thanks for joining in. Big Texas, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in. So I think what happens when it comes to temperament is a lot of people, they focus on one dog. And what I mean by that is we're going to get more in depth in it in a second, but you can have a litter that averages a 3, based on what it is you're looking for. But then you get that one pup that he's like through the roof. You rate him a 10, you know, when it comes to, let's say, prey drive. And then all of a sudden, what people do is they look at it like, okay, I need to breed for less prey drive in my next breeding. So they find a male or female that has lower prey drive. And what they don't realize is you only have one pup that was through the roof. So now all of a sudden, your next litter, you don't have that pup that's through the roof, but then you're stuck with a bunch of pups that are now, when it comes to prey drive, a 1 or a 2, and that may not be what you wanted. Whereas had you had, and we're going to get into it, but had you have ignored that pup and remembered that your litter overall was on level 3 when it came to prey drive, so you just need to breed to another dog that is approximately at level 3. And you'll see that those random pups start to fade off. Whether it be low or whether it be high. And I think that's something that people miss out, especially in the working dog world. People who are new to getting into working dogs tend to have that issue where they try to breed based off of one pup that showed up rather than, he said, hit the notification bell. Rob, what's the notification bell? I don't see that, a notification bell. But so what happens is they end up losing what it is they were looking for overall in their litter. So remember, when you breed, whether it's for temperament, structure, color, you're breeding for the overall litter, not just one pup. And we're going to get into right now how to get into that. What's up, Bernard? Thanks for joining in. Eric said, glad I can finally got a notification for your live. You know, I'm working on that. I'm trying to get a little more fluid when it comes to it. Okay, so Rob was saying that make sure you hit the notification bell. Exactly. So I'm going to start going through StreamYard. You'll get notifications. You hit that reminder, and then you'll get a reminder for when I'm about to go live. First thing before we get into all that, I want to give a definite shout out, much appreciation to Fred Duran from Primo Line Kennels, and also Danny Cervantes with Second to None Bullies. And I want to thank them for joining in on these lives. Both of them are champions. Fred Duran actually has 2 Grand Champion XLs. Danny has a Champion XL. Danny puts on a lot of shows. And I'm glad that they're able to jump in. They're jumping in on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm sorry, Mondays and Wednesdays doing live. So you guys make sure that you check those fellas out. They got a lot of great ideas. Fred Duran is extremely successful when it comes to the show ring. One of the reasons I wanted to get those fellas on to join in these lives is because I don't do a lot when it comes to the show ring. That's not really my forte. That is something my cousin, who's my kennel partner, wants to get into in our probably another 3-4 generations. I'd say about 3. We do want to get dogs that are involved in the show ring, but that's just not been our focus. So I wanted to get people in who are focused on that already and make sure that they can provide education to the group. So I really want to give a shout out to those brothers. I also want to give a huge shout out to Robert McCormick and also Andre Smith of BGK Bullies for our Friday lives where we're talking about marketing and promotions. Last Friday, it was dope to just be able to sit back and watch those 2 brothers just talk about marketing and bring up things I've never heard of, never thought of. And I think a lot of you can learn from that. Last Friday, we dealt with taking pictures, whether it's your cell phone or your camera, the best way to go about doing that. So this Friday, we're probably going to touch on a little bit of the same, but then also moving into how you want to apply. Now that you've got these pictures, you got your dog, you got your pictures, how do you want to move that into promoting your kennel on Facebook? So we'll be touching on that this Friday. If you're in the group, you probably can't share it. If you in here from another location, then definitely go ahead and share it. But definitely tune in to those lives Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Everything is as normal. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, you've got Fred Duran. Tuesday, Wednesday, you've got Danny Cervantes. And then Friday, I go live with Robert McCormick. And hopefully Andre will be joining in on those with me. Hold on. Let me let my dog out real quick because he's looking at me crazy. Come on, boy. But tonight we're going to talk about, like I said, temperament. Come on, bucket. Come on, come on. You want to go potty? We're going to be talking about temperament. We are also going to be talking about and how to breed for it. We're also going to be talking about the beginnings of this breed that we call the American Bully, from pit bulls and am staffs to the dogs that went into them and where we're at now and how we got there. But as far as temperament, let's go ahead and get that started. One of the first things you've got a dog. And regardless of what age you got that dog in, regardless of what your experience is with dogs, um, you want to start judging that dog's temperament, um, their intensity when they do certain things, whether it's fetch, spring pull, flirt pull. When you tell them to come to you, do they hesitate or do they just come? You want to be aware of these types of things. And then you want to start grading it, and so that you have an idea of what it is visually of what you're dealing with. What you want to base this off of is your understanding based off of your experience. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It's strictly about you, your dog, your experience, your understanding. To give you an example of that, let's say I want more play drive, PLAY drive in my dogs because I feel my dogs are at score of 2. And somebody else on a scale of 1 to 5, they're at a score of 2. But then somebody else sees my dogs and they say, "Oh, well, those dogs are actually have a lot of play drive compared to what I'm usually dealing with," or those dogs they have less play drive than what you're saying based off what I'm dealing with. It doesn't matter what that a person's opinion is. It doesn't matter what that a person's experience is, because you're the one taking those dogs based off of the charts that you've come up with and breeding it to the next dog. So it's all based off your understanding. When it comes to your understanding, what you want to make sure that you're doing is constantly learning. That's the main thing. So when it comes to temperament, you want to learn about all the drives that make up a dog's temperament, which is that dog's personality. And all those drives are various things that trigger them. When you're looking at temperament, before we get into how to chart it, you're looking at action, you're looking at threshold, you're looking at recovery. Action is what the dog is doing or what you're doing with the dog to get it going, to trigger that dog into whatever it is you're looking for. Threshold, you want to have and action requires creativity. You looking at dogs, understanding dogs, and your creativity that you apply for whatever it is you're looking for. Threshold is how long a dog is willing to do something or how much of something a dog is willing to take. And then recovery. When you're done, how long does that dog bounce back into the normal dog that you're used to dealing with? So one of the first things that I do when it comes to breeding for temperament and charting my dogs. What's up, Seth? Thanks for joining in, man. He said, "What's going on? I've been waiting on this live about drive." Cool. So here we go. Let's get into it. First thing you want to do, get yourself a piece of paper, a spreadsheet, Excel, whatever it is you may use. And if you're dealing with one dog that you want to get the idea of, write that dog's name. If you have 2 dogs, write their names. If they're adults, so if you're dealing with adults, where there's however many dogs you have in your yard, 1 to 50, write their names down a line. And you just want to go straight down the line with each of their names. From there, across the top, you want to come up with all the drives that you understand. Okay, that's what this is all based off of. Prey drive, everybody gets prey drive. Play drive, everybody pretty much understands play drive. Dominance drive, rank drive. As many drives as you can understand, you want those going across the top of there. And you want to rate everything 1 through 5. 1 is low. There is no such thing as 0 when it comes to dogs because they all came from the same place. So 1 is low, 2 is low to medium, 3 is medium, 4 is medium to high, and 5 is high. You're going to have, so let's say we're talking about fight drive. You don't want fight in your dogs. The highest level of fight drive is 5. Does that mean that a game dog is considered level 5? Yes. even if you've got a dog that's you consider level 5, but he's not necessarily game. Because again, remember, you're dealing with your litter, your perception, your experience, okay? And you're breeding according to that. So across the top of that list, you want, so a list of all the dogs in your yard, and then going down, and then with their names, and then going across, you want the drives. And you're going to rate each one of those dogs 1 through 5. Again, 1 being low, 2 being low to medium, 3 being medium, 4 being medium to high, and 5 being high. As you're rating these dogs, you want to come up with 2 things. 1, a chart of each of the individual dogs going across and how they scored on, by your opinion, on each of the drives that you understand. The next thing you want to know is, what is your overall yard when it comes to these various temperaments? So let's say the average dog in my yard scores a 3, and I've got 5 dogs in my yard. So I add it up and it all turns to 15. You divide 15 by 5, and what do you get? The number 3. Now I know when it comes to prey drive, my yard averages a 3. That's how you want to think about the next dogs that you bring into your yard based off what it is you're looking for, going higher than 3 or lower than 3. So now you've done a breeding. And in that breeding, you want to start watching that litter. What you want to do is take 30 minutes to an hour. And typically with litters, they're young, so they tire out fast. So about 30 minutes is usually going to be good enough. And you want to start analyzing that litter, watching them from birth all the way to about 4 weeks, which is their eyes are open, ears open, they're starting to move around, run around, they're starting to form their personalities. And you just want to watch those dogs, and you want to rate them based off the drives that you understand. So let's say you've got a litter of 6, and that means you need to have 1 through 6 going down, all the drives that you study and you understand going across. When it comes to drive, I have no problem when it comes to anything. You guys hitting me up, you can PM me, you can make a post in the group. If I happen to not notice that post, go ahead, tag me to it, and I will answer any questions that I can. Same thing as if you PM me through Messenger. But you want to take those pups. Let's say you have 6 pups, then you want 1 through 6 going down, and then across. Let's say there's 5 drives that you know you fully understand. Let's say there's 3 drives you know you fully understand. Whatever it is you fully understand, you want that going across, and then that way you can start grading your pups on a level of 1 through 5. So you've got various tests. Here's the things that you want to look for when you're testing your pups. One of the things that I do, the first thing that I look for when it comes to pups is their pack drive, their desire to be amongst their pack, how they get along with their pack. A dog that is dominant does not necessarily have a high pack drive. It's the dog that wants to fluidly get along with the pack that tends to have a high pack drive. So one of the first things you're going to want to start doing when it comes to your pups is watch them. Do you have a pup that sits off? So put pack drive as one of the drives when it comes across, and you're going to constantly, every week, you're going to be regrading these pups based off of your understanding and based off how they operate as they get older. So if I'm looking at a pup that is constantly in the middle of the pack, he doesn't necessarily get into fights. He's not necessarily growling or snapping at other dogs a lot. He kind of gets along with the pack very well. This is a dog that I want to grade when it comes to pack drive at a level of 4. This might change next week, though. Might change based off of him. It might change based off of my understanding. And that's why I say this is based off of your understanding. So I rate his pack drive based off how he gets along with the rest of the pups at about 4 weeks. I'm rating it. And I notice he likes to be in the mix with the pups a lot. He doesn't get into a lot of altercations with the other pups. He avoids the more dominant pups, but he's not overly aggressive with the more submissive pups. This is the type of pup that I'm looking for in my kennel. It may not be what I'm looking for, but it might be what you're looking for. So you want to rate that pup on what you're looking for as from a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. Now, as the weeks progress, those numbers may change. Don't let your emotions. Kennel blindness is not just about being able to see flaws structural flaws in your litters. It's also about not being able to see temperamental flaws in your litters. And those temperamental flaws are based off the breed, you, various things. So I'm not looking for in my Jack Russells the same thing I'm looking for in my bullies. I'm not looking for in my catch dog the same thing that I'm looking for in my Jack Russell or my bullies. And you have to think about that as you're doing it. And that's why I say it's something that's easy to do. You just have to make sure that you're studying and constantly understanding. So I want to rate that pup based off how he gets along with the rest of the pups. I know if I'm not looking for dominant pups, but this dog is constantly trying to dominate everything that's going on, then I'm going to give him a lower score than the rest. If I'm looking for pups that are, or, a mid score than the rest. If I'm looking for pups that are, I'm definitely not looking for pups that are submissive to every dog in the pack. So that dog is going to get a lower score. I'm looking for pups that are able to get along. I'm looking for pups that are able to not get into it all the time with the dominant pup. And I'm looking for pups that are not always trying to dominate those pups that tend to be more submissive. And those are the things I'm looking for. So those are the things at around 4 to 5 weeks that you're watching, how these pups get along. You're looking for how they respond to their mom. And you're constantly grading 1 through 5 how they do. And then once you graded 1 through 5 on each of the pups, you're going to add that up, and then you're going to divide it by however many pups you have. So if you have 6 pups, you're grading 5, 3, 2, 1, 4, blah, 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 all the way down to the 6th pup. You're going to add that up. Then you're going to divide it by 6. And that's going to let you know where your pack is at that point. And that's what you want to base your next moves and your next steps off of when it comes to testing these pups. That's what you want to base your next breedings off of when it comes to your litter. So when it comes to, as the pups get older, they hit about 4 or 5 weeks, you're able to start separating them. And you want to start looking at them separate from the other dogs, and so that you can make comparisons to what it is you're dealing with. One of the first things I do, which I think most people are aware of, is I will take a pup, I will hold it in my hand. You want to hold it close to the ground so that the pup is aware that the ground is there. A lot of times people make mistakes with this test. They're holding the pup close to them, and the pup is nurtured by your closeness and they're unaware of the ground. You want to go about 5 to 10 inches above the ground, hold that pup in your hand so that he's aware through peripheral vision that the ground is still there. Hold him upside down in your hand, put your hand over his chest. When it comes, that is your action, which is what to do and your creativity when doing it. When it comes to threshold, you want to have a stopwatch. The minute you put him on his back, bam, you want to hit that stopwatch and see how long it takes for him to resist. The minute he starts to resist, click that stopwatch. Make sure you have a toy in your pocket for when it comes to recovery. You click that stopwatch for stop. You know that time. Now you have just kept track of his threshold. Put that pup down. Watch him do what he does. Most times when you've done that with a pup, they no longer want anything to do with you because you put them in a position that they aren't comfortable with. So now what you want to do is pull a toy out your pocket and see how quick he's willing to come to you. This lets you know that pup's recovery rate. You want to time that also. You want to have an idea of how quick. I held him in a position he didn't want to be in. I put him down. He walked away about 5 steps because he didn't want nothing to do with me. But as soon as I pulled his toy out, he was willing to come right back. That lets you know that this pup gets over uncomfortable situations very quickly. And you want to keep track of that. Once you've done that, again, you've done your test, you're keeping track of action, which is your creativity and applying what it is that you do, and the pup's action when you did it. Then threshold, which is a time clock. You need a stopwatch to keep track of threshold. Then the next thing you want is recovery. When I have that toy in my pocket and I put that pup back down after doing what I did with him, and I pull that toy out, how quick, and I try to get his attention, how quick is he willing to forget what we just went through and come to me? That is what you're looking for. And then you grade that pup 1 through 5. And then you move on to the next pup. Another test. So when your column at the top can be based on drive, or it can just be based on the action that you did. The more you learn about the actions that you're doing and how they apply to drives, the more your columns at the top are not going to be based off the action that you did. The more they're going to be based off the drive that you were looking at or that you were testing for. But either way, you still should have an idea as a dog breeder whether you are able to equate that action into a drive, or whether you aren't able to equate it into a drive, but you know that it's something that you're looking for. The more you get used to doing these types of tests, the more you will start to see what drives are affected by the actions that you did. Another test that I will do with pups is I will take a pup away from the other pups. I will throw a toy, let that pup play with that toy. It is in a dog's natural instinct to bring things to us, okay? And I will see how long it takes for that dog to bring that toy to me. You want to see that. Before you use a toy, though, the first way you want to test that, put that pup on the ground, hold him, pet him, have a good time with him for about 5 to 10 seconds. Give him some attention. Put him on the ground. You need to make sure you're on the ground with him. Put him on the ground while you're sitting Indian style. Wait for that pup to wander away from you. Me, I hit the stopwatch to see how long it takes for him to wander away from me, because I want to know how far he's willing to go out. I will even look at pups and watch them for how far they're willing to go. But once they start traveling a certain distance, we'll say 5 to 10 feet, now get that pup's attention. No toys, no treats. Call his name, whatever you named him. Make the funny little noises we make to get a dog's attention. See how quickly you are able to get his attention and get him to come back to you. Okay. Once you've done that, stop your stop clock, keep track of the time, write the time on your chart, and then move on to the next pup. And you want to start grading those pups based off of how quickly they did. The quicker they came to you, the higher their score. The slower they came to you, the lower their score. And then again, you want to find an average for these pups. Another thing that I do, I will take a pup, put him on the ground. I will take a blanket and I will throw it over the top of that pup and make sure that blanket is completely spread out. I want to see the determination in that pup. You're going to get some pups that just go straight and bam, they're out of the blanket. This is going to let you know that you got a pup that is extremely tunnel vision, because he don't know how that blanket went over him. Okay. He doesn't understand that when I get to the end. All he knows, this is his first time, is I don't know how this happened. I'm covered with something. I'm just going to go straight. You will have other pups that start to go straight and then they lose determination and they try another direction. That's not a bad thing. This is a pup that's trying to figure. He may never come from under the blanket because he's constantly walking in circles and zigzags trying to figure out how to come from under the blanket. That's cool, because that pup, don't think the pup that went straight out and got out is smarter than the pup that never got out because he kept zigzagging and going in circles. Okay. Don't get that confused. Only thing that blanket is really teaching you is the determination of that pup. Here's another pup you're going to come across. He's going to walk around for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he's going to stop. This is going to let you know that you got a pup that has a low determination rate. This is going to let you know he's probably got a low prey drive. He might get excited every time he sees something moving. Making you think he's got a high prey drive. But then when it comes time to go after that thing, he loses interest when he realizes he's not catching it in the time that he's willing to catch it, because he has a low threshold. Okay. So he might be alerted to things faster than other pups, but he's got a low threshold that doesn't allow him to go after certain things for a certain length of time, as long as these other pups. So you want to keep track of these little things. You want to observe them. You want to keep a chart of these things, and you're going to be doing these things once a week, once a day, but you want to keep track of it once a week. You want to be doing them on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? So that you can see how those pups advance. Brian Cruz, thanks for jumping on. He said, let me see. Hold on real quick. I need that CDL drive as much as I spend on dogs. They need to start driving me to the store. Okay. That was Robert McCormick. Seth said, what's going on? Let's see. Spirit Rider said Bailey is still 1 second. There you go. She said does not like flat on his back at all. See, and I get dogs that are like that. I noticed with the bullies, they were more willing to be on their back than most of the dogs that I'm used to dealing with. Let's see. Brian said, is there a way to save this live and go back, watch after it's done? Definitely. This live is always going to be in the group, in the Giant XL American Bully group. It is also on our YouTube page, Thrower Bullies, and it will always be there. I don't delete the lives regardless of how bad or how shitty I do at them. I go ahead and I leave them, so you'll always be able to go back. Becky, let's see, hold on. Spirit Rider said it should be on YouTube channel, if not the group. Exactly. Brian says there a way to improve those thresholds. Yes, you can improve those thresholds by working with them. Your main way to improve thresholds that you're noticing at 4 to 6 weeks old, because at 4 to 6 weeks old, you're dealing with their genetics. At around 5 weeks old, 5 to 6 weeks old, you're dealing with their environment and what that environment. So as far as their thresholds, yes, you can improve on them, but it is still limited by their genetics, you know. And so you'll see some dogs, their threshold improves as they get older. But how much it improves is based off of that dog's genetics and the breedings that you did to get the dogs that you're testing. And that's what, you know, people really have to remember when it comes to that. So another thing that I do again is the blanket. As soon as I throw the blanket over them, I start the stop clock. I'm not timing to see how long it takes for the dog to get out from under that blanket. Some people use that as a test for intelligence. I personally don't believe it's a test for intelligence. I believe it's a test for determination. What I'm looking at is how long does the dog go before it kind of quits. Some dogs within 3, possibly even 15 seconds, they're just going to stop moving and they're just going to whimper rather than continue to try to get from under that blanket. Now, so like Brian said, how can I improve on that? What I'll do the next time I do the blanket test with him is I'll put him closer to the edge of the blanket. So he tries for that 3 to 5 seconds. Next thing you know, bam, he's out from under the blanket. This is going to build his determination when it comes to that blanket. So that's one of the best ways to do it. So always remember, when you want to improve the threshold of a dog, you're not improving his genetics. You're just improving that individual pup. Make whatever it is you're doing easier. So for the blanket test, it's going to be making sure that he's closer to the edge. When it comes to, now there's going to be some things you don't have control over. One of those is getting a dog to come to you. Now you can use treats or whatever, but those treats is not necessarily that dog's genetics. Those treats are his desire for treats. So another thing that I'll do, like I said earlier, I'll let a dog wander from me and I'll see how quickly. What's up, Danny? Thanks for joining in, brother. I'll see how quickly I can let that dog get about 5 feet from me. And then I'm going to try to get his attention, speaking the baby voice and all those other little silly things we do as dog owners, to see how quickly he comes back to me. The minute he makes his way to me, that's when I hit that clock again. And I know it's time to stop that clock, and I write that down. And I want to keep track of that with every pup. So what we discussed, the blanket, we discussed putting a pup on their back. We discussed watching the dog walk away from you, getting them to come back. Another thing I do with pups when they're at that 4 week old age is I will do what's called imprinting, and we're going to get into that later. So that's not necessarily temperament testing, but one way you can do for temperament testing is when you get that, grab yourself a metal spoon and a pot, sit them down. The pups are running around. They have no idea what it was. When you know that none of them are paying attention to you, grab that spoon, grab that pot, bang, 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 start banging that together and see their reactions. You're going to get pups that are going to run and then turn to look. You're going to get some pups that are just going to run. They're never going to turn to look until they can find a hole or something to hide in or get behind the rest of the pups. You want to pay attention to those pups that don't look for the rest of the pack. So when you make that noise for their first time, if you're lucky, you're going to get a confident dog, and he just turns to look at you like, what the hell are you making all that noise for? These are the dogs that you know you want to think about keeping, that he's a confident dog. Now, at that young age, that confidence could mean eventually he turns into a more aggressive dog or a more dominant dog. It's usually not going to have anything to do with rank driven, but you want to keep an eye on that. do all these various tests so that you have an idea of what you're dealing with. And the reason you want to keep track of them is so that when you do your next breeding and you have your next litter, you can compare them to your old litter. And that's why you want to, so you figure you're going to keep track of them in 4 tests. Start the test and keeping track at 4 weeks. You're going to do it again at 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. You have your next litter. You've decided what it is you need to breed to when it comes to temperament. You have your next litter, and now you're going to want to do those same tests, but keep an eye on your old litter and the chart that you have with your old litter. I like to do sound, and if anybody else has any ideas, definitely let it be known. But I like to make loud noises. I like to take all the pups out of the play area or wherever the pups are kept and sit one pup in there and pay him no attention. Keep all the other pups in a whole separate room so he can't hear them, can't see them, can't smell them. And how long is he willing to sit there and cry before he will just sit there and calm down? The minute that pup, this is the other thing. When you get a pup that's crying or whining, if they've got a high pack drive, they're going to cry and they're going to whine when they're by themselves. If they are insecure, they're going to cry and they're going to whine when they're by themselves. You have to learn to be able to differentiate between the two. Why is this pup doing this? Some are going to do it because they have a high pack drive, which is a good thing. Some pups are going to do it because they're insecure, which is a bad thing, but it looks the same. The pup with the higher pack drive is going to tend to calm down. After a while, they realize, I'm not insecure. I just want to be around my pack, so I'm crying. But my pack's not coming to me. My owner's not picking me up to put me wherever the pack is. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to lay down and chill. It's easier to go to sleep and get away from your problems than it is to stay awake and get and be aware of your problems. So the chances are what that pup is going to do is he's going to sit there and he's going to chill. That's when you stop your stop clock. And then you want to go ahead, when that pup does that, you want to go ahead and get him. Make sure you don't get him while he's crying, okay? Because you got to remember this pup is going to go to a home and eventually. And what you don't want to do is reinforce bad habits. So you don't want to reinforce that a pup can cry for me and I'm going to come for him. I'm going to come to him. When those pups start now, when the pups are 2, 3, 4 weeks old, that's when you want to respond to their crying. You want to break, just like their mother does. You want to break them of that right around 3 to 4 weeks old, okay? And you want to see those pups because during that process, they're learning, I can cry and get food. I can cry and get attention. I can cry and other pups come, other litter mates come to see what the hell's going on with me. You want to start breaking that because these dogs have somewhere to go to after you and the mom are no longer there. Joel, what's up? All right, so we're going to switch up real quick. And we're going to get into the AIs and everything. Joel is on. What's up, brother? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Is that something I'm doing? Hold on.
Yo, you can hear me now?
Okay, got you. I hear you. What's up, brother?
Chilling. What's good with you, fam?
Doing good. We just got finished, or we didn't finish, but we were discussing temperament testing and ways of temperament testing. So I'm going to keep that an ongoing thing. One of the reasons, everybody, first off, welcome Joel. He is from Duval Bullies, the owner of Grand Champion Shots Fire. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He also does his own lives. Joel knows a lot about nutrition, and he's got a lot of good information to offer. He's been doing so. Make sure that you catch this brother when you get a chance. I'm going to try to, I'm not sure how to do it just yet, but I'm going to definitely try to make sure I tag him so you guys, when we're done with this, so that you guys can make sure that you go to him. One of the reasons I wanted to bring Joel on is one of the topics that came up when I presented the poll today. And just so you know, Joel, every Tuesday in the group, what I do is I make a poll and people get to put whatever topics they want to discuss. One of the topics that came up today was progesterone testing, the right numbers, AIs, etc. And matter of fact, let's go ahead and get the exact question just so I can make sure I'm on point. And now all of a sudden I can't find it, which is my, oh, okay, there we go. So the exact question, and everybody that was listening for the whole temperament thing, we're still going to get into that, even if it's later today, next week, whatever. I'm never going to leave that. We're always going to get in that topic. But since Joel's on here, one of the things that came up was discussing heat time, heat lengths, progesterone testing, and when and what numbers to get the best results to do AIs or natural breedings. Now, one of the reasons I want to bring you on is because I'm old school with this. So even with our bully breedings, I've been making sure I pay attention. I know approximately when the dog's going to go in the heat. As soon as I see that blood, I know in about 10 to 11 to 12 days, it's going to start clearing up. When it gets clear, I also have a male here, luckily. So he starts acting crazy. The female starts flagging him. And I know, okay, she's flagging him. He's going crazy. The blood from the heat is now a clear color. I jump in my car. I head to Oakland and we do the king breeding. That's how we've been doing it. You know what I'm saying? And we get that AI done. We just started kind of doing the progesterone thing, but I'm going to admit I'm not aware of the numbers. I'm basically relying on the person saying, give it another day, give it 2 more days. You're ready now. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know the actual numbers. And that was why. And as soon as I hit you up with that, you was like, my lucky number is blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? You already know when you want to go. So that was my thing and why I wanted to really bring you on here. So let's get into it. When I'm assuming off jump, just because they're dogs, that you kind of have an idea of when that female is about to go into heat. Then all of a sudden you see that vulva expanding. You notice the bleeding. At that point, what is it that Joel is looking for to create another shots fired grand champion?
Okay, so I'm I'm a little. I've learned from the old school as well. You know, I've learned from brothers like you. I've learned. You know, I've done AIs myself, and I've done progesterone as well.
There we go.
But I first learned by doing AIs myself. You know, on how I do it. Excuse me. I wait till like maybe like the 8th day, 9th day. Then I start doing. I start pulling my mail, and I start doing the AIs myself. So I do it. I do it. This is old school right here.
So let me reverse that real quick. Okay, so you notice the bleeding, and then you start counting your days.
Right.
Then you get to the 8th day, and you start doing the AIs right then and there. So you're not even waiting for it to clear up to get that. No. Okay, got you. No. Got you.
So
okay.
I have the luxury of having the male hair. You know, a lot of people don't have the luxury. They have to ship out for the semen. So this is the reason why people do progesterone tests, because they have to ship. Usually, if the dog isn't close to them, they have to either ship for the semen or they're going to take a nice road trip to get their dog
exactly
each on either a natural tie or AI from the vet or from the breeder. So how I do it is on the 8th, around the 8th or 9th day, I start doing AIs. Now I do 3 of them. I do 3 AIs within the week, because the second week is when the female is basically at her highest point of, you know, or at the point of, you know, of accepting the semen to, you know, create the puppies.
Got you.
What I do is I do the first AI on the 8th or 9th day. The semen lives within the female for 48 hours. So I'll do it the 9th day, the 11th day, and day 13.
Gotcha.
So I'll do the AIs on those 3 days, and you will not miss. If you're doing it like that, you won't miss. So
okay, so you're saying you do the 8th day, and what was that again?
I do the 9th. If it's the 8th, I do the 11th. I mean the 10th.
And then the 12th.
The 12th. I'm sorry, man. The 12th, and then I do the 14th.
Okay. Got you.
So you're not
Gotcha.
gonna miss. You're not gonna miss, man. You're gonna if the male motility rate and semen count is good, and if your female is accepted and if she's ready, then you're definitely gonna hit it. But the just remember the semen lives within the female for a good 48 hours.
Okay.
Now, the reason people do progesterone, like I said before, is that they're far off. Like I'm in Rhode Island. I've had people from New Jersey. I've had people from New York. That's like 3-4 hours away from me. You know, they don't want to just waste trips coming out here just for me to do AIs 3 times. You know, so they want to make sure they come at the right time. So what they'll do is they'll go get progesterone tests. Now, the time that you're looking for is in between 10 and 14, the number, as far as the number of where you're looking at for the points for progesterone. I don't know if they call it points or what they actually call it, but the actual numbers is in between 10 and 14.
Okay.
I've had people say, I've had this girl, this just maybe a couple of weeks ago, came from New Jersey, said her female was a 20, and they said she was ready. So she came on right on down, and I did the breeding myself. So
Gotcha.
people want to know that they're gonna, when they're traveling or they're having semen shipped to them, they don't want to waste any time or any money. So what they do is they get the progesterone test so they can basically hit it on that perfect time for her, where she's going to be accepting that semen to produce some dogs.
Got you. So when it comes to that progesterone test, how would I say this? Let's say the female is not. What would you say the best number is on that progesterone test?
14.
Okay, 14. So before she's ready, is the female higher and you're waiting it to come down to 14, or is the female lower when you're waiting for it to go up to 14?
That all depends on the female, man, because they can have. Hey, come here, calm down. Hey, calm down. Sorry about that. They can have split heats. So when you're dealing with a split heat, that's totally different. You know, she goes up, and right when she's gonna hit that number where you think you're gonna do the breeding, she'll go back down. You'll come back. The vet will say, "Come tomorrow. I think she'll be ready tomorrow, but we want to make sure. So come tomorrow so we can give her another progesterone test." You'll go in, have another progesterone test, and she went from let's say a 8 or a 9, and she's down at a 3 or a 4 or a 6. And you're like, hold on, what the hell's going on? That's because she's having a split heat. You know, some dogs that happens with some dogs. You know, they have split heats. So the numbers will go up and down. So this is where you want to catch it. After that it goes back down, it's going to go back up to where you really want to pay attention, because that's when she's going to be ready, that time when it's coming back up. So it's usually every 2 days. They're supposed to. This is what they say, the rule of thumb. But you know how that is. You know, just like Jonathan Oak said, the semen can live for 5 to 7 days, which I've never heard of. I've only heard 48 hours. I don't even want to take a risk of waiting 5 to 7 days after doing an AI with the dog. I'm doing it every 2 days, especially if I have the luxury of having that dog in my area.
That's already right there.
Excuse me?
He's already right there. So you're not gonna wait too long.
Right. I'm not gonna wait, because you don't want to really risk 5 to 7 days, especially if you're paying money, or if you're trying to have this breeding so you can produce something and go up to the next level. You want to actually, you don't want to miss. So you're not going to rely on semen living for 5 days. I've heard it living for 5 days with extender, which I know how to do too.
Got you. Okay. Okay.
So usually this extender right here, I know I'm kind of getting off topic and I apologize.
Nah, go ahead.
But this extender right here, if you notice with the I can't even pronounce that word. That's like vitamins. And this is what the extender you're supposed to use when you're shipping like to Canada or to Europe or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And there's another one that the label is orange and it doesn't have the I can't even say that word, but the sulfate. It doesn't
Got
even
you. What is
have
that?
that.
Gitamin sulfate.
Yeah, it doesn't even have that in there. But this is the extender you're supposed to use when you're shipping across seas or you're doing international breedings. But I use this with all of the breedings I do that I have that the client wants me
Mm.
to send semen. So I'll use that instead. And why not use it? When it's supposed to be
Exactly.
better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
If it'll work from here to Europe, I'm gonna use it from here to Georgia also.
exactly,
Exactly. Got
exactly.
you.
I want them to have the best as well. I don't want to cut any corners. But
Bingo.
so if you have a dog that you're not either going to travel. Well, even if you travel, if I'm traveling 4 hours, 5 hours to breed to a male, I want to make sure my female is ready that one time. I don't want to take all these trips, 4 or 5 hours back and forth. That's 10 hours, out of your life, you know what I'm saying, that you
Right.
can't get back. So I want to make sure she's at the right levels in order, for me to do the breeding. So if if the vet tells me, yo, she's out of 12, she's gonna be ready tomorrow, or she's out of 10, I think we should do the breeding tomorrow when she's out of 12. I'm gonna skedaddle to wherever I need to be at 4 or 5 hours away, or I'm going to call the breeder and say, yo, you need to ship that semen for me so I can have it tomorrow. So
Got you.
in between 10 and 14 are the numbers that you want to see that female is at.
Got you. Got you. So between 10 and 14. Now, a couple people commented that it depends on the actual progesterone test that you're
It
using.
does. It does.
Okay. So you have to kind of learn your test and then stick with that. Are some tests better than others? Or
I'm not gonna be. I'm ignorant to that. So because I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna end up buying my own progesterone machine soon. But every
got you.
progesterone isn't created equal. All of them have different numbers. That they go by. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So, like I said, the girl in New Jersey said the numbers was 20. So they might be using a different system that says 20 is the time for her to for when she's ready. The one I use, the vet I use, they say in between 12 and 14 is the numbers that I want to be ready to be on call to either do the breeding myself, come up there to have a TCI or a surgical, or just a regular AI, or me to do the AI myself, or when I should travel to go get it done. So
Got you.
I would, me myself and the vet that I deal with, it's 10 to 14. But other places, man, other progesterone tests, they have different numbers. So yes, it's not all the same. They're all different. So somebody on here might be like, yo, 14 is not the number. Yeah, that's because your vet is using a whole total different system that my vet is using. So the numbers can be very different, and that could be confusing. So whatever vet that you're using, you need to ask them, what numbers do I need to know where my female is when she's ready? What numbers in between this number and that number should I be ready to ask for the semen to be shipped, or get ready to come in to do the breeding, or do the breeding myself?
Got you. So that you know ahead of time. Because wow. So with these different progesterone machines, progesterone machines, that number can vary from machine to machine, from vet to vet. So if you're going to a vet, you need to make sure that you're dealing with a vet that knows their machine. and has been doing this. And then if you start doing it on your own, so like you said, you plan on getting your own progesterone machine. You're
Yeah.
then are you going to be getting the same one that your vet uses,
I'm
or
not. I'm not sure. I might have to ask them what kind of. It's kind of touchy when you call your vet and you ask them what kind of progesterone machine they're using.
exactly?
You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing that I have a plug at the vet that that I have a vet that I can call them tomorrow and get one of my dogs in. While the next person might call in and they say, "Yo, we're all booked up for like a month." You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Got you.
So
Got you.
it's good to create a relationship with whatever vet you're using, so you can have certain you can do certain things that other people can't do. And
Exactly.
it's also good to make sure you go to a vet that's a breeder. Because
Mm,
they think totally different. Like, okay, so you'll go to a vet that's not a breeder. The first thing they're gonna ask is, if you take your puppy there, oh, do you want to neuter or spay or neuter your dog? You know what I'm saying?
got you.
Hell no. What? You kind of want to smack them for saying that. You know what I'm saying? But
Got you.
if you go to a breeder that's your vet, they're not going to ask you anything like that. They're going to ask entirely different questions that you're hearing from them. They're gonna ask totally different questions than a vet that's not a breeder. So if you're in this breeding game, the best thing that you can do is go to a vet that's a breeder.
Exactly. Okay. So somebody said, so if you have semen shipped for an AI for your female and she is nearing that level 14, when should you have the semen shipped, and how do you keep it fresh so you can hit on that 9th, 11th, and 13th day?
What? I'm sorry.
Okay, so the person says, so if you have semen shipped for an AI for your female and she
Mhm.
is nearing that level 14 that we were discussing, when
Right.
should you have the semen shipped, and how do you keep it fresh so you can hit on that 9th, 11th, and 13th day?
Well, it could be the 12th day. It can be uh the 15th day. It all depends. That's why when you get progesterone tests, your vet is going to let you know, uh oh, tomorrow she's going to be ready. That's why it's good to go. Here's another pointer. Go early in the
I get
morning
what you're saying. Okay.
to your vet. Make sure you mess with a vet that gives same day results, because a lot of vets outsource. So they'll say, yeah, we do progesterone tests, but we get the numbers the next day. That's because they're going to another vet that's local that gets same day results, but will give them the
Ah,
results the next day. So that's why you need to make sure you go to one of these vets that you get same day results in. Because
got
like
you.
I said, a lot of these other vets would say, yeah, we do progesterone, but they're outsourcing themselves and going to another vet that does same day results, but they get the results the next day. So
Got you.
you're kind of setting yourself up. You have to kind of know what you're doing, know what you're looking for when you're going to these vets. You want to ask them these questions before you even get involved with them. You know what I'm saying? It's because they can mess you up. They can mess your
Right.
breeding up to where you, next thing you know, because sometimes your female might be ready on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you go in on a Friday, they're gonna let you know on Saturday. There's no way you can get the semen shipped to you. But if you go early in the morning, on a Friday, they're gonna give you those numbers that Friday afternoon or the Friday uh, morning, few hours, from when they take the test. Some vets give you the numbers 30 minutes after or an hour after they take the progesterone test. So those are the vets that you need to go to versus the vets that say, oh, we can give you the numbers the next day. Nah, they're going to somebody that's around you. That's another
right.
around you that is getting the numbers on the same day, but they're doing so much work in their own facility that they don't get those numbers out to the next day to the other
Got
vet.
you. Got you. So Jonathan O said that egg yolk is a good natural extender as well. Someone else said it. There's a couple of you where it just says Facebook user. If you scroll to the live where it shows a StreamYard link and you click on that, it will then and click on that. Then there's a big button. You click that button and then it'll start showing us what it is you're saying. But this person said, or who you are. This person from Facebook says, so if you're okay, so that's the same one. And basically your answer to them.
Read Robert McCormick's
Rob, so let's see. Daniel Nunez said IDEX is industry standard. I'm not sure what I'm assuming IDEX is one of the progesterone machines. Robert said what happened to the topic. We're gonna hit back on the temperament topic either later this evening or probably next Tuesday. And I might just jump up and do a random one sometime this week. But we'll get back to it. The other Facebook user said there's nanograms per deciliter and nanograms per MOL. I have no idea what that is. You know what that is?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't know what it is. But I see somebody also said when they ship the semen, they only ship enough for one breeding. That's not true. I actually ship some semen to because my boy has Shots Fired has like either his semen count is a little bit under 1 billion, like 950 million, or it's over like 1,000,000,020, and it has the motility rate from a 97 to a 90. It fluctuates sometimes. So I shipped enough semen one time. They said I could have hit 2 bitches up, and one day if both 2 females was ready. If they was ready, I could have hit 2 females up. So that's not true. They don't, you know, sometimes I like dealing with vets too to ship semen because they spin the semen down to the purest form. So
okay, the last dude we went to, he had the spinner. Can you explain what that's about as far as the semen and the spinner and what the purpose is in that?
So what it actually does, it basically separates the unwanted fluid from the semen. So yeah, a centrifuge. You want to get a centrifuge, and you want to put the same weight as same milliliters as the tube that with the semen in it. You want to maybe put water and the other centrifuge right across from it, and it needs to be an even weight so it can actually separate the fluid from the semen. So when that semen, the semen will, I guess, drop to the bottom, and the fluid, it's like oil and water.
Exactly.
So what you do, you get the pipette, and they'll suck the fluid that's unwanted, the fluid that's unwanted from the from the tube, and just, I guess they'll just get rid of it, and then they'll take the measurements of the concentrated semen, and then they'll use the same amount of progesterone. Well, actually, it's 3-to-1 for progesterone to semen when you're doing when you're shipping extender. I got lost right there. So it's usually
I got you.
3-to-1 or 2-to-1 extender to semen when you're using it. So they'll use that whatever amount that they use, either it's 3-to-1, 4-to-1, or 2-to-1 to actually with the same amount of concentrated semen.
Okay.
Yep, there it is. Prosthetic fluid.
Okay, so Daniel said if you buy your own progesterone analyzer, I would recommend verifying your numbers with the vet you're used to using. Okay.
I want to answer Robert McCormick's question. No, I did not. I did not.
Okay, I don't even know what question you are. I'm trying to make my way down there.
Go check my live. Go check it out, brother, man. You know what they say about assuming, but.
So Daniel said, so now how much are these progesterone analyzers? How much are they?
They can go. They can. I've seen them from like maybe from 9 to $3,000-$4,000.
Okay.
You
Okay.
also want to know how to draw blood when you're using these. You also want to know about phlebotomy when it comes to these dogs. When you want to start getting into progesterone, you want to know. You
Okay.
have to know how to draw blood, where to
Because
draw
you got
blood.
to draw the
from.
blood on
Yeah,
exactly on your
because
own.
that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the blood when it comes to these progesterone machines because that's what the vets are doing. They're drawing blood to get the actual numbers from your dog.
Got you. And then TTB Showcase said the number really don't matter when she starts on ovulating. She can be a 20 and still take. Betsy said going back to it after special guest. Yeah, we're gonna go back to it. Daniel said repo vets use index machines capable of running 20 plus tests at once. Those analyzers run 15K. Damn.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Let's see. Ed Collier said, how much do you guys charge for 7? Not sure what he means by that. By the
Wow.
way, my name, how much do you guys charge for 7? Then he says, by the way, my name is Vito. I breeding for years now, but I was breeding game dogs, but I left the gamers alone to start breeding bullies. I'm working on building my bully kennel now called STK Showtime Kennels. So hold on. Why is this individual? Oh, I can't even see. So then what you're okay? So I'm not too sure what he means by how much you guys charge for 7. Robert said Joel's a special guest. Yes, he is. Uh,
I jumped off my
okay,
show.
how much you guys charge for semen? That's what he was saying.
I jumped
His
off my
bonus.
show just to come on here, man. Like
I
that's
saw
the
you were
first.
live. That's why I didn't know how it was
That's
gonna work out.
man.
But
That's the
thanks for
first
doing
thing
it.
I did. That's the first thing I did as soon as because we're on 2 separate times. You're on West Coast time,
Exactly.
and I'm on the Eastern Standard. So I mean, as soon as I got off, man, you were the first person I thought of. Actually, but even before I got off, you was the one of the first people I thought of, man. Because man, you helped me out with a lot of shit, man. Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
can't
bro.
even. You're so knowledgeable, man, and I lean on your knowledge. I've only been in the game for 6 years. I haven't even been in this dog game for long. But what I can tell people that are new is to be diligent with research and cross referencing
Yes.
that research that you're learning or whatever somebody's telling you. Don't ever take face value for what people are telling you. You need to not even what
That's
us what
nice.
we're saying. You need to go research what we're even saying on here. You don't need to take our word for it. You need to question us, even if the advice is live and direct. You
You know,
need to
that's
don't
funny you
never
said.
don't ever trust anybody in this
Exactly.
game that gets upset when you question them or when you go research what they were talking about. They should be happy that you're going to research all of this stuff, and they should be appreciative that you're doing this type of work, man, because you know even people that's been in the game for such a long time slip up. They fall. They go on old wives' tales. That's not even, you know,
That's no longer true.
right. That's not good information. You know what I'm saying?
And that's funny you said because I was just telling because earlier we were talking about temperament testing. And before I started the live, I was telling my wife, I was like, when the pups hit, everything comes back to me. My mind is fluid. I know everything that I used to do. But when there's no pups and somebody's asking me a question, it's like a struggle to think of those things that would normally, come natural to me. And so I always tell people anything that I say, go ahead, research it, look into it, talk to other people, let them know where you got it from. I'm not concerned with that. Now, if somebody's saying something that conflicts with what I've said, then you just want to make sure that one of us makes sense based off of what you're hearing. And I've always told people I have no problem if you see me make a post, a comment, and somebody else is saying something different in your ear through Messenger. I have no problem you tagging me to them or them to me. They can jump in on my lives. I have no problem with talking to people that, you know, there might be a disagreement with. But now here's something.
Or you might learn something actually new. You
That's
know,
the thing. That's the thing. You have the opportunity to learn something new. And all this, you know, it's like even bullies. Bullies is new for me. So a lot of this AI, progesterone tests, all these things, they're all new for me. I never had to deal with them before, you know. But now here's something that caught my eye. Tony Cass said when they ship the semen, they only send enough for one breeding, not to do multiples. Is that something you got to be aware of? Okay.
that's not true, man. That's not true. It doesn't take much to get. It doesn't even take much. I can't remember the number, but it doesn't even take much for a female to even take. You know what I'm saying? Especially depending on the motility rate and the semen count of the dog. If you're dealing with a dog with a very high semen count, like close to 1 billion, over 1 billion, with the motility rate from anywhere from 90, 99 or 100. I haven't seen a 100 motility rate, but anywhere from like a 97, a 98, 99 to a let's say 85, which 85 is like standard for a stud to be at, you know, as far as a motility rate. That's another thing you want to learn. You want to know when you get in that semen ship, you want to also have a semen count to come with it. So you know where the motility rate is at, and you know where the semen count is at, because somebody could be shipping you some bad semen, with a motility rate is 85.
You're not going to know that till you get that semen to your vet.
Right, because they're going to do the analysis. The vet that I use is one of the top fertility clinics in the Northeast. So, they're a little expensive, but I'd rather deal with them because they're going to give me the proper information. They're not going to bullshit me. They're actual breeders, so not just the vet, but the techs that work there are breeders as well. So that's why I love going to that place, So it's good.
It's definitely worth trying to find a vet that doesn't just deal with breeders, but is actually a breeder.
Now, what you can do, what I do when I ship this out, right? Y'all get a look at that. If y'all, this is what I use.
That's the extender you were talking about.
This is the extender that I use, right? So when I use this, I will go to my vet before I send that out, maybe like 2-3 days. When they tell me, look, I'm going for my first progesterone. By the time they tell me they're going for their second progesterone, I'll go to my vet. I'll get the semen count depending on how far it was when I shipped the last when the last shipment was a semen. I will go get that count taken. They do that for me for free because I have a lot of business. I deal with them a lot. So
got you.
They'll do a semen count for me right there. And I can take that semen count, and whatever they, copy down, I can send that along with this. So they can't say I shipped them some bad semen. You know what I'm saying? So I make sure, because if your dog has a good semen count, a high motility rate, and the female didn't take, either they missed the timing was off with the progesterone, or something's wrong with your female.
Got you.
So that's why it's good to know it's more than just shipping semen, just pulling the dog and shipping semen. Using the egg yolk. I mean, I'm not doing all of that junk, man. I want to use I don't want somebody to say, yo, he used the egg yolk, man, and because your reputation has a lot on the line. It's definitely on the line. It has a lot to do with your program and what you're doing. And if you're shipping off semen using egg yolks, man, and you don't even know if the egg that you're using is any good, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't, that might be, that's why I'm saying that some of the old school ways that, I don't want to wear butterfly collars and bell bottoms. You know what I'm saying? I want to wear what they wear. Well, not skinny jeans, but but I want to be up in time. I want to be current.
Exactly. Exactly. That way people are more confident with what it is you're doing. Let's see.
Yeah.
Now, this is kind of interesting. Daniel said, of course, a fertile male can split one collection into 2 or more breedings, but you'd be pissed if someone paid for one stud fee and split into 2 breedings. Which
I've done it. I've done it. I've done it, and both the bitches took. Listen, I sent one to hold up. Louisville, Kentucky, and New Mexico, and both those bitches took.
But that was your intent at the time, though, right?
I had to be straight up with them. I had to let them know, yo, I got the 2 of y'all both. I have 2 females that's ready, and I'm gonna have to split it. Yo, and matter of fact, I've done it twice. I'm waiting on a confirmation for the other dog, but one of the dogs took. But I'm waiting for the other confirmation right now. But I've done that twice.
Now, have you heard of anybody sending out semen for one? Somebody pays a stud fee, they send out semen for one dog, but then next thing you know, that person that took the semen, split it in half, and went to 2. Yet that was not discussed in their agreement with the stud owner.
That's underhanded, man. That's just underhanded work right there. Like, I don't deal with nobody that's doing that kind of work, man. So I'm pretty sure it's happened. I've heard a lot of stories where people have had different males in their house, or don't even have to have different males. They'll go to another male, pull that male, and ship out the semen. That's just underhanded work, man. I don't do that. Right. That's why I go to my vet when it's time for me to ship like that myself, and I get the semen count for my dog. They can actually call my vet and say, listen, did Aldwood Marrow come in there with shots fired and get a semen count done? I give my people that comfortability. I say, listen, here's the number. Okay. Here's the number to my vet. You could call them and you can find out if I was just in there 2 days ago and got my boy's semen count, the same semen count that. But I'm pretty sure there's people that can still do that and still send the wrong semen. But I'm not with that. Listen, for $5,000, for $3,000, for $2,500, it ain't worth it.
Exactly.
It's not worth it, man.
So Joseph said, Joel, what's the name of your vet? I don't know.
It's called Central. It's called Central Ave Veterinary Clinic, but we call it Truesdale's Veterinary Clinic because that's who owned it. An older gentleman named William Truesdale owns the vet. Does he want the number? He wants the number. I got the number right here.
So yeah, Joseph, definitely hit up Joel, and he's gonna get you the number now. Tony said, especially a female that's not approved. Exactly, that goes back to what we were discussing. Rob said you can split it into 2 breedings. Is it showing? All right, there it goes. 508-761-8525 on Central Ave. And then Rob said you can split it into 2 breedings, but not separate days. The count won't be shit. Let's see. Somebody else said when you're shipping, are you using? Okay, so when you're shipping,
you can't do it with chilled. I did it with chilled. I've done it.
He said you can split it into 2 breedings, but not separate days. The count won't be shit. That's what Rob said.
He said you could do it with frozen, but not chilled.
Okay,
I've done it with chilled.
With chilled,
and I'm definitely not a liar. And I've done it, and both females took.
So when you say chilled, you're just basically saying it was never frozen. But
right. They pull. So anytime you're shipping semen, that's fresh chilled semen.
Got you. So that semen then has to be warmed up before it's placed into your female, I'm assuming.
Excuse me? Yes, they have semen.
Okay.
They have to. I'm not sure about what temperature is. If it's 98, I think because when I have to do this, when I mix it, the temperature that is required is 98 degrees.
Got you.
For the extender, the mix that I make, they want the mix before I mix with the semen to be 98 degrees.
Okay, so now someone else asked, when you do the shipping, are you using a passive system like Exodus, breeder or Canine Express?
There's certain ones you can use. I mean, you can actually go to FedEx and they have everything there for you. But I use,
FedEx?
yeah,
I had no idea.
they have the frozen packs. They have the styrofoam. Hold up, I'm gonna show you one place that I use on. I use what happens, right? What I try to do with my clients is I try to save them a little bit of money because the Easy Express one is huge. You know, it's really big and it's heavy, right? So let me see if I can find. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can find. I go on. Matter of fact, here it is. This one's a smaller one that I got on Amazon. This is actually a smaller one.
Okay.
I don't
prefer the smaller one?
Yes, I don't use the extender and everything that's with it because I already have. I like using the Kenny
Got you.
The Kenny Slim
the one
milk.
you showed us earlier. Okay, got you.
The skim milk, the Kenny skim milk. But this is the one that I grabbed off of Amazon right here. Now let me see if I can scroll down. It's called Premium Supply Company and ARS. Hold up.
Got you.
So that's the one I like to use because it's smaller. And instead of the people that I'm shit, because they take the weight, you know, they take the weight of the package and they add it into the charges of, you know, when
so you like to use the smaller one because it costs them less money.
It costs them less money.
Got
now
you.
I'm always thinking about the people who I'm shipping it off to. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm not thinking about, you know, it's up to them now. No, I'm taking the tracking number. While they're tracking it, I'm tracking it too. I want to make sure everything goes right. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said this in my last show, man, I'm in this for my legacy. I'm not in this just for the money, you know, which the money is pretty good, but I'm in it mostly for my legacy. My legacy means more to me than anything, than any dollar bill. You know, I'm in this for my legacy.
Got you. There you go. All right, so you know what? Let's wrap it up with this last one because this person puts another. So Facebook user says, so to recap, bitch bleeds, start counting the days till 9th or 10th day. That is the start date. Depending on the progesterone machine the vet is using, ask vet best numbers you're looking for. Then AI every 2 days from that day. Get a semen count, billion, and mortality rate of said semen should be in the high 90s. Does that sound like?
Motility
rate.
So you want to make sure a standard motility rate for a dog is 85%.
Okay, so you want it 85% and up.
85 and up.
So then, like he's saying, and then we're gonna go ahead and jump off of here. So you want female,
like the 8th day, it's from either the 8th or 9th day. That's totally up to you. Sometimes when you know your female, you know when to start doing it. You know, so like if you're just doing it, if it works, it's gonna work either way. But you just want to, after the 7th day is basically when your female they could be ready. They could be ready on the 8th day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So you're doing that regardless of your progesterone test.
Yes, I don't even take progesterone tests when I'm doing it. Like,
okay, got you. That's kind of what
that's when I'm not using progesterone.
Got you. Because you know you've got that male there. So all right. So then to summarize it up,
if she has a split heat, that's when you need a progesterone machine. That's when you need a vet. Unless you're, I'm not a vet. Like I'm not. Well, I mean, like, you need a veterinary clinic, but I'm not a vet as far as OG that far where I can see when to breed a female on a split heat. Like I'm not that. I'm not that good because you know, like I said, it'll go up and then it'll come back down. But I guess when she's going back up, she'll start flagging. She'll start doing anything. But the best progesterone machine is your male stud. that's used
Thank
to
you.
being pulled is a male stud, because the male will let you know what day. Because my boy does not eat on the day when a female is ready. He
That's
will
how my
not
male
eat.
is.
He will not eat nothing. He's greedy. He won't eat shit. So maybe that might be a way, OG way, old school way of being a progesterone. Your dog can be your progesterone machine too. If you know your dog, you know that the day she's ready or the day before she's ready, they're not gonna
Yeah.
eat.
We'll see, and that's the way we did Cardi, and he was getting excited a couple days before, but then all of a sudden everything just shut down. He didn't want to eat um, normal shit that he would normally do. He just wanted to be at her. You know what I mean? And that's when it was like, okay, time to throw her in the car and head up north. You know what I mean?
That's why
And
a
then
female call you a dirty dog. You dirty dog.
exactly, that's the truth. Well, hey, brother, I want to thank you for joining on.
Man,
It's been
thank
an
you for
hour and a
having me.
half. Hey,
Thank you
bro,
for
I
having me.
love
I
it.
appreciate it.
I love having you on. You and I have had some great conversations. You know what I'm saying? Much respect to you. Again, everybody, salute. This is Joel from Duval Bullies, the owner of Grand Champion Shots Fired. So he's doing some major things. And we're going to go ahead and log off. Tomorrow, Danny Cervantes will be going live. I think he goes live at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you guys make sure to tune into that. Thursday, we will be having the XL Bully Showcase. And then Friday, me, Robert McCormick, and hopefully Andre Smith will be back to the marketing and promotions and the how you need to go about taking your pictures and everything. I hope this answered a lot of the questions today. We did not go into, you know what? We didn't finish up the temperament thing, and we didn't go into the beginnings of the pit bull to the am staff to the bully. So what I will do is I will make sure this week we get into that, or we might just go ahead and push those back to next Tuesday. We'll figure it out, but I don't want to make the live too long, because for the people who aren't able to tune in and they come in later, it's intimidating to see like a 2-3 hour live. So we're gonna go ahead and log off. I want to thank everybody for joining in, and we are out.